city of Henderson is about a 100-square-mile city here in southern Nevada with about 275,000 residents. We have our own jail, we have 3 police stations, we have 9 fire stations operated 24/7, over 1,000 acres of parks, 7 rec centers, 11 swimming pools, plus the City Hall and Justice Courts. So we have quite a few amenities, and the cost of energy and maintenance has been rising over the years. So over the last few years, the economy has been difficult all over the United States, but southern Nevada has been hit especially hard. We have some of the highest unemployment, and our property values have really decreased. So our tax dollars have really decreased, leaving us in a position with not enough money to maintain all the amenities and facilities that we have. So our project consisted of street lighting and traffic signal retrofit. We did building lighting nearly citywide. Nearly every building had the lamps retrofit from mostly fluorescent T12 to T8. We also had a lot of spotlights and smaller fixtures that were retrofit to compact fluorescent. Substantial savings in the lighting package. In all of our office type environments, we retrofit offices with occupancy sensors. Where we did not have building controls for lighting, we have occupancy sensors in the offices and the conference rooms set obviously to be on when they're occupied and off when they're vacant for more than typically 15 minutes. That measure also saves tremendous lighting power usage. One of the largest groups of work is in heating and cooling. We retrofit building boilers in a number of locations. We replace chillers in a number of large buildings. We replace rooftop air conditioners in some of the smaller buildings with higher efficiency package units. We also did digital controls in 2 large facilities that provide complete programmable controls, and the programmability saves us a substantial amount of energy as well. So there were additional items included that were not as attractive a payback, but they were maintenance or operational issues. For instance, we retrofit 2 indoor swimming pools with UV water treatment that decreases the chemical usage and improves indoor air quality. We were also able to retrofit leaky valves and failed actuators as part of a bigger project where we could save energy. We were able to use some of the savings to replace maintenance problems. One of our biggest savings items was our street lighting. We retrofit the street lights on nearly 800 miles of public streets from high pressure sodium with its classic yellow glow to inductive lighting, which has a much truer, whiter color. The colors are truer, visibility is improved, and we saved about 50% of our electricity. It saves about $1 million a year by itself on the street lights. Everything we replaced was recycled. All of the scrap metal, all of the ballast out of the lighting, all of the thermostats, all the mercury was collected, all of that went to a recycler. We wanted to minimize the local effects to a landfill and maximize the opportunity. Much of that was sold for scrap, so there's a very small amount of savings that comes back to the project with the recycling. So the city project guaranteed 17% savings. That guaranteed savings is guaranteed to pay for the project. Thus far, we have exceeded the savings pretty much in every area, and we're really happy with the results. The other big change with this project was a cultural change at the City of Henderson. With the implementation in all the buildings that were occupied, there was a lot of outreach, there was a lot of notification that went to our current occupants, our city employees. And those city employees, having seen the project be installed, have really come to better understand energy savings on a big picture, long-term basis. We now get questions about if there's additional savings possible, if we've done enough. There's departments that have come to us and asked if there's more that they could do to save additional dollars. So the cultural shift has been outstanding. We've really gotten buy-in from all of our occupants and everybody with a stake in this project.
Well, in 2005, NRS changed to allow local governments to use performance contracting. So the City of Henderson took advantage of the new statute and considered doing a performance contract for one of our buildings. We identified our justice facility because it was one of our older buildings. It had some issues with boilers and chillers and things like that, and we thought we want to start small. So in order to select a company, an ESCO company, to do this, the first thing we did was hire a third-party consultant, which is required by statute for local governments. They helped us put together an RFP and identified a couple of key points in the building, in the justice facility, that the proposing companies could focus on for their selection. After we went through the selection process, we had our company on board, and they then went through and did a very thorough investment grade audit of everything in the building to look for every single possibility for upgrades and energy conservation measures. So with the first project at the Justice Facility, it was in 2005, 2006. It was at a time when the economy was pretty good. So the city decided that we would issue a 10-year medium-term bond to pay for the construction and the upgrades, which were then paid for, reimbursed by the savings that we achieved through the energy conservation measures. So we had about $800,000 in capital funds available that we contributed toward the project, and the rest was a medium-term bond issue. By doing it for 10 years, we were able to avoid having to go to debt council to have it approved, and we could just go ahead and move a little bit more quickly to get this done. So overall, the first project was about $2.2 million, and we've been saving about $250,000 every year in energy savings, which is part of that goes to repay the bond issue, and the rest is rolled back into city funds to use however we need to use them in our operating budget. So based upon the success that we had with the Justice Facility project, the city decided that we wanted to try performance contracting for more of our city buildings. And rather than piecemeal it out and just do one building at a time, we decided to go all in and look at the entire city and every asset that we owned. So an ESCO, or an energy services company, is selected through proposals, through a qualification-based selection system. And once we have the ESCO on board, the rest of the process works like a design-build project. The ESCO company acts as the prime contractor. He hires subcontractors, vendors, gets the best price for us. And also we can give input on if there are local subcontractors that we'd like him to use or that we've had success with. They can contact them for proposals and pricing. Anything that will fit in within their guarantee is going to work for them. It's also subject to NRS 338, so prevailing wages do have to be paid. It is considered a public work project under statute. From the point that the ESCO is selected, everything else follows NRS statute. After the ESCO company did their financial grade audit, they came up with a project that was valued at just under $18 million. At the time, the economy was a little bit tougher and banks were really tightening up their purse strings on giving out loans. So we did put out an RFP for a loan, and we were fortunate to get a good rate where we could do all of the projects. There were a few things that were identified that we couldn't do because it wasn't going to fall within the 15-year payback for the loan term. Fortunately, because of all these measures, we received almost $1 million from NV Energy in rebates, which we rolled back into the project. And in 2009, when we got started with this, we received ARA funds, so we could incorporate into the project some of the measures that we had taken out initially because we didn't have the money to do them. So all told, we ended up with about a $20 million project that was financed over a 15-year loan term.